Welcome to 10 for 10, a series of interviews with personalities and dedicated leaders across the Major Arena Soccer League. I'm your host, Erik Bergrud. For this week's episode, I'm joined by Empire Strykers head coach Onua Obasi. Welcome to 10 for 10, Coach.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Well, thank you. Let's get started. How has the MASL evolved since you first entered the league as a player in 2014?
Oh man, that's a great question. To be honest, I was obviously a very green rookie. I came to a great team. Luckily enough, I came to Baltimore Blast, who were, really, really strong. Maybe the best team in the league. So when I knew I was going there, I started to watch videos of them play, and I couldn't make sense of it really. But luckily, I had a strong background in futsal, and that allowed me to contribute right away. But I would say some things have changed in terms of the type of players that are coming into the league is a little more varied now. Players who are specialist futsal, and you're getting that Brazilian flair as well. A lot more Mexicans playing in the league. So for me, that adds to the quality of the league. But back then, I think it was a lot more structured in terms of how teams played. Tactically, there was very, you don't see that level of maybe tactical, so deliberate with the tactics, hitting the boards and finding the target and those sorts of movements. Although I still think they're very effective, as I saw against Milwaukee firsthand, when they're hitting the balls and boards and crashing the box. And, it's almost like, not that it's fallen out of favor, I just think kind of the game's gone away from that a little bit.
Yeah. More recently, you gained national attention as the head coach of Newtown Pride FC, winners of the inaugural TST tournament. Can you describe that experience and how it led you to future coaching opportunities?
Yeah, that was a crazy one. One of my really close friends had a crazy idea to enter this tournament, and it wasn't a cheap tournament to enter. And I remember trying to persuade him maybe it's not the best investment, but the way he thinks is outside the box, and we went for it. And I had the privilege to put together a team, so I literally spoke to all the best MASL players that I knew that I think could fit a type of system that could win a tournament like that. And yeah, it was really cool. Obviously super fortunate to win it, and I thought we prepared probably the best, and it's nice to have your preparation kind of pay off. But I learned some hard lessons for sure about coaching professionals, the importance of having the right personalities, and not just trying to pick the best players, but making sure the personalities match what you're trying to do, and also just tactically, how you can have an idea, and it's your idea might be here, and in reality is here, and how do you get them closer together? And that was a challenge. Even at the last TST where we lost in the semi-finals, we had a really strong idea, but then you try and put it onto a field against players you don't know, and with only a couple of weeks training, it's definitely a challenge. But now being at Empire, I see even more details that I could have done better and stuff. So it was really cool. It was a really cool experience.
So as you were alluding to, the first two TST tournaments have featured numerous MASL players. From your perspective, how have the MASL representatives fared amidst national and international competition?
If we're talking specifically TST, then I would say, the MASL players are the best, the best players for that format in general, because they're used to quick subs. Some of the movements, some of the movements are so strange for an 11-a-side player to step in, no offside rule. And, as I said, the rotating subs is a hard one. The international players and the other players want to play for 10 minutes in a stretch. Whereas the MASL players know just naturally, just instinctually, all right, 2-3 minutes, I'm off. And that's a long shift. So those things lead to an advantage. And then we saw the Kings League. We had players go off to the Kings League, and they did really well with not much training. Showed that they can beat teams who train in that format and stuff. So I think the level here, and I know people have said it before, but I think it's deceptively high in the MASL. It is quite niche. It's quite specific, the skill sets and that benefit you here, but the level is really good. If someone steps from outdoor to indoor, that learning curve is steep.
As MASL fans have witnessed, you've employed a system with the Empire Strykers that calls upon your goalkeepers to play a significant role in your offense. How difficult was it for your players, especially your goalkeepers, to adjust?
I think the goalkeepers actually found it easiest because I think, from their perspective, I think they see, oh, I can be a main protagonist in this game. I can be the X factor. I'm getting to have shots. I'm getting to pick up higher positions. And, like, as I've said many times, we're very fortunate with the goalies we had when I arrived, because all three of them are really good. It's slightly different ways, but all of them have a really good attitude to learn. And none of them showed like, oh, I don't want to do. There's none of that negative energy from them, which was so important because they are literally the protagonist in our system. I think obviously other players, it was a shock to the system, because you do put players in unfamiliar circumstances, and it is a new system. It's definitely not traditional indoor. And we had some really good transitional players. Like for me, Justin Stinson's the best transitional player potentially in the league, and to ask him to kind of rein back his game a little bit and be a little bit more conservative, and it's tough for a player like that. But thankfully they have great attitude, so they're like, yeah, whatever the team needs, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to learn and be open. So I've been lucky with the group I had. I'm sure if I tried to do this with a group of seasoned MASL vets, if I had a seasoned group there, it'd be more difficult. You'd have much more resistance to change. But I think the group I stepped into kind of fit, and it was one of the reasons I kind of went with that style of play.
We talked a little bit earlier, contrasting when you started as a player to today's MASL. In the game today, and not just for your team, how important is it for goalkeepers to be technically efficient with their feet?
Yeah, so obviously my system puts a huge premium on it, but I've played with William Van Zella, I've played with Chris Toth, played with Paolo from St. Louis. These players I think could just do so much more. When the goalie rule came, I thought it was a good rule. Don't get me wrong. I like the rule that the goalie can't just have unlimited like carte blanche, because I think you should have a punishment. You should have a risk to bringing him out more. Like, so they have one touch in the half. So that limited those players, and it made the game more transitional, which was much more fun for the fans. But I do think those goalies and my goalies and other goalies in the league have such good feet. They have such good technique. They have such good skills to get out of tough situations that I love to see it. I think a good goalie, football has moved in that way where you need to just be good with your feet. You can't just be good shot stopping. But we've seen even Milwaukee, Willie B, he's great with his shot stopping. He's not that great with his feet, but he's shown to be a top goalie in the league. So you can still be a top goalie in the league without having fantastic feet. It's just how the team plays around you, how they kind of want to play, the system of play. But I do think, other teams could maybe take advantage of that and be a little bit more proactive with bringing their keepers up. But it's just my opinion, I guess.
Sure. Throughout the season, we're exploring topics related to the business of indoor soccer. All the Empire Strykers home games this season and several of the road games are streaming on CBS Sports Golazo Network. How important is this exposure for your franchise's brand?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think our brand in the league is really cool. Even just being able to say to people, "Hey, yeah, we're on CBS." It adds such credibility, and I think it's sharpened up the production. It's sharpened up how we present and package our games, which is really good. But yeah, I think obviously we're hoping in the future we can keep building on that, because it is really cool. When I've got family on the East Coast who can just go on CBS and watch the game, and it's on a real channel, and it's on it does add to the importance and the significance of what we're doing, and I think it's really cool, and long may it continue.
So it kind of leads me to my final question. Beyond the broadcasting, what does the future hold for the Empire Strykers?
I'm really optimistic. This season, we still have a young team. We added a few pieces, but we also lost, Stefan Mijatovic, who's one of the best two-way players in the league. So, we improved as a squad, and I think we're improving our performance. So I think next season, if we keep in the trajectory, let's see how we finish this season. I'm still optimistic we can, surprise anyone if we get to the playoffs. But next season, I think we're only put ourselves in a great spot to really put the league on notice and really, go into every game as a team that should be winning. That's kind of my mentality is, can we get to there? We're not there yet, but I would like to get there where we can look at a Chihuahua, look them in their eyes and say, hey, we can beat you today. We should be beating you today. So that's my goal as a coach and as an organization. Jeff Borum, the managing director of the team, he has the same sort of aspirations. So I think we're well aligned there.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Coach. And thanks for everybody watching. We'll be back next week with another episode of 10 for 10.